Captain Alex Carter stood in the massive chamber of the Galactic Council, feeling very small among the giant alien beings that surrounded him. The room was bigger than any stadium on Earth, with floating platforms that held representatives from dozens of different worlds. Some aliens looked like giant lizards, others were made of pure energy, and a few seemed to be living rocks. All of them were staring at him with what he could only describe as amusement. Commander Lisa Brooks waited outside in their small shuttle, monitoring the meeting through the communication device in Alex's ear. She had warned him that this might not go well, but nothing could have prepared him for what he was seeing now. The aliens were not just dismissing humanity's request to join their council. They were laughing at them. Admiral Zethkar of the Vorthic Empire was the first to speak. He was a massive reptilian creature with scales that seemed to shift colors as he moved. His voice boomed through the chamber like thunder. "So the little humans want to join us," he said, his words dripping with mockery. "Tell me, Tiny One, what exactly do you bring to our great alliance? Your ships are made of metal and powered by explosions. Your weapons shoot little pieces of metal. We have seen your entire fleet, and I must say, we are not impressed." The other council members began to laugh, a sound that filled the enormous chamber like a storm. High Chancellor Miratel of the Zenthari Collective floated forward on her platform. She looked like a being made of pure light, beautiful but cold. "Admiral Zethkar is being kind," she said, her voice like music but with sharp edges. "I have studied human technology extensively. Your fastest ships take months to travel between planets. Ours can cross the galaxy in days. Your most powerful weapons can barely scratch our shields. Your computers are so primitive that our children's toys are more advanced." Alex kept his face calm, but inside he was taking careful notes. He watched as the aliens displayed holographic images of human ships on the giant screens around the chamber. They showed Earth's carriers, destroyers, and battleships, all looking very small and simple compared to the sleek alien vessels that appeared next to them. "Look at this," said Commander Voxtal of the Silicon Confederation, his rock-like body grinding as he gestured toward the displays. "They still use chemical fuel to power their ships. Chemical fuel. We stopped using such things 1,000 years ago. And their weapons, they actually fire physical projectiles. It is like watching cavemen try to fight with sticks and stones." More laughter filled the chamber. Alex noticed that not all the aliens were laughing, though. A few seemed to be studying the human ships with more interest, but they stayed quiet. The Zenthari Chancellor continued her examination of human technology. "Their communication systems are laughably slow. They use radio waves that take years to travel between stars. Their shields are nothing more than thick metal armor. Their most advanced computers are less powerful than the devices we use to control our food preparation systems." Admiral Zethkar stepped forward, his massive form casting a shadow over Alex's platform. "But perhaps," he said with a grin that showed rows of sharp teeth, "they could be useful in other ways. The Vorthic Empire is always looking for new workers. Humans seem strong enough for manual labor, and they breed quickly. Yes, I think they would make excellent slaves." The chamber erupted in more laughter. Alex felt his jaw tighten, but he forced himself to remain still. In his ear, he could hear Lisa's voice whispering updates from their shuttle. "Alex, I'm picking up some interesting chatter on their military frequencies. The Vorthic have a large fleet massing near our border. This might not be just about council membership." High Chancellor Miratel raised a hand, and the laughter slowly died down. "Of course, we cannot simply ignore the humans completely," she said. "They have shown remarkable determination in reaching this far into space with such primitive technology. Perhaps in a few hundred years, when they have learned to build proper ships and develop real weapons, they might be worthy of our attention again." Alex finally spoke, his voice steady and clear. "Honored council members, I understand your concerns about our technology. We know we have much to learn from the great civilizations represented here. All we ask is for the chance to prove that humanity can contribute to galactic peace and prosperity." Admiral Zethkar's laughter boomed through the chamber again. "Peace and prosperity? Little human, you do not understand how the galaxy works. The strong rule and the weak serve. Your species is weak. Your technology is weak. Your entire civilization is weak. There is no place for weakness in our council." The other aliens nodded in agreement. Alex could see that his mission was failing, but he continued to observe everything around him. He noticed the weapon systems on the alien ships in the displays, the way their energy shields worked, and the patterns of their fleet formations. Every detail went into his memory for later analysis. Commander Miratel began to float back to her position. "The Galactic Council has reached its decision," she announced. "Humanity's request for membership is denied. Your species lacks the technological development, military strength, and cultural sophistication required for full membership. We suggest you return to your small corner of the galaxy and perhaps try again in a few centuries." Admiral Zethkar added his own final comment. "And humans should be very careful about venturing too far from their home worlds. The galaxy can be a dangerous place for such a weak species. There are many civilizations that would see you as nothing more than resources to be harvested." The threat was clear, and Alex felt a chill run down his spine. But he bowed respectfully to the council, thanking them for their time and consideration. As he turned to leave, he could hear the aliens already talking among themselves, making jokes about human ships and discussing whether humans would be better as slaves or simply eliminated entirely. As Alex walked back to his shuttle, Lisa's voice came through his communicator again. "Alex, those Vorthic ships I mentioned are definitely moving toward our space. Long-range sensors show at least 500 vessels. They're not even trying to hide their approach." Alex reached his shuttle and sealed the door behind him. As they prepared to leave the station, he looked back at the massive alien council chamber one last time. The aliens thought they knew everything about humanity. They thought humans were weak and primitive. They had no idea how wrong they were. "Lisa," Alex said as their shuttle headed back toward human space, "send a message to Earth Command. Tell them the Council rejected our application, and tell them the Vorthic are coming. It's time to activate Shadowfall." Lisa nodded and began transmitting the coded message. As their small shuttle disappeared into the darkness of space, neither of them looked back at the alien station, where beings from across the galaxy continued to laugh about the primitive humans and their pathetic technology. General Ryan Hayes sat in the underground command center beneath Colorado Springs, staring at the holographic display that showed Captain Carter's shuttle approaching Earth. The message from the Galactic Council had arrived 3 hours ago, and Ryan had been preparing for this moment ever since. The rejection was expected, but the Vorthic threat was something they had hoped to avoid for at least another few years. Dr. Karen Foster entered the command center, her security badge glowing, with the highest clearance level possible. Behind her walked Lieutenant Jake Morrison, the best communications officer in the human fleet. Ryan had called them both here for a reason that very few people on Earth would ever know about. "General," Karen said as she approached the main table, "I received your emergency summons. I assume this is about Project Shadowfall?" Ryan nodded grimly. "The aliens rejected our council application, just as we expected. But Admiral Zethkar and his Vorthic Empire are making their move earlier than our intelligence predicted. We have maybe 72 hours before their invasion fleet reaches our outer colonies." Jake looked confused. "Sir, with respect, our defense. Fleets are already in position around the outer colonies. The Memphis, the Denver, and the Atlanta battle groups should be able to hold them off until reinforcements arrive. Dr. Foster smiled sadly. Lieutenant, those ships you're talking about are not our real defense fleet. They're decoys. Very expensive, very convincing decoys, but decoys nonetheless. The young officer's eyes widened. Ma'am, I don't understand. Those are real ships with real crews. I've served on the Memphis myself. General Hayes activated a new section of the holographic display. Jake, what you served on was indeed a real ship with a real crew. But it was never meant to fight a real war against advanced alien technology. For the past 50 years, every ship the galaxy has seen from humanity has been designed to look primitive and weak. We wanted the aliens to underestimate us. Dr. Foster stepped forward and began explaining what very few humans knew. When we first detected alien signals 60 years ago, our leaders made a critical decision. Instead of announcing our presence and trying to join galactic civilization immediately, we decided to watch and learn. We sent out hidden probes that studied alien technology for decades. We learned how their weapons worked, how their shields functioned, and most importantly, how they thought about warfare. The display changed to show technical diagrams of alien ships, alongside human designs that looked nothing like the vessels Jake knew. Every piece of alien technology we observed, we improved upon. Their plasma weapons led us to develop gravity cannons. Their energy shields inspired us to create adaptive armor. Their faster-than-light drives helped us build quantum tunnel generators. Jake stared at the diagrams in shock. But the ships I've seen, the ones defending our colonies, they look like upgraded versions of 21st century vessels. Because that's exactly what they are, Ryan explained. We built them specifically to fool alien observers. The nuclear reactors are real, but they're not the primary power source. The missile systems work, but they're not our main weapons. Every human ship the aliens have ever detected has hidden systems they cannot see or understand. Dr. Foster brought up another display showing construction facilities in the outer solar system. While we were showing the galaxy our primitive ships, we were building our real fleet in complete secrecy. 12 massive vessels that make alien dreadnoughts look like children's toys. Ships that can become completely invisible to any known sensor system. Ships powered by contained black holes and armed with weapons that can manipulate matter at the atomic level. The command center's main screen lit up with incoming reports from the outer colonies. Lieutenant Morrison began reading the updates. Aloud, General Vorthic forces have crossed into our territory. Colony ships from 3 different systems are reporting attacks. The aliens are broadcasting their assault across the galaxy like it's entertainment. Ryan watched the tactical display as red markers showed Vorthic ships overwhelming human defenses. The Memphis battle group was already retreating from the Proxima system, and the Denver group was taking heavy damage near Wolf 359. To any observer, it looked like humanity was being crushed by superior alien technology. Sir, Jake said, watching. The retreat orders being transmitted. Shouldn't we be sending reinforcements? Those are real people dying out there. Dr. Foster shook her head. The crews on those ships know their mission, Lieutenant. Every retreat is planned. Every defeat is calculated. We're drawing the Vorthic fleet deeper into our space, away from their escape routes, and into the perfect position for our real ships to engage them. On the main display, they could see alien news feeds celebrating the easy victory over humanity. Representatives from dozens of species were making statements about how they had known humans were too weak to survive in the galaxy. The Zenthari. Chancellor appeared on one feed, expressing mock sympathy for the inevitable extinction of the human species. Admiral Krexter, commander of the Vorthic invasion fleet, was broadcasting his own messages. Humans, his translated voice boomed across every communication channel. Your primitive weapons cannot harm our ships. Your weak shields cannot protect you. Surrender now, and some of you may live to serve the Vorthic Empire. Continue to resist, and we will turn your worlds to ash." Jake listened to the alien commander's threats with growing anger. "General, with respect, how can we just sit here and listen to this? Even if our real ships are more advanced, shouldn't we be helping those people?" Ryan placed a hand on the young officer's shoulder. "Son, every person serving on those decoy ships volunteered for this mission, knowing exactly what it meant. They're not just buying us time. They're selling the greatest deception in human history. The aliens think they're watching humanity's final defeat. They have no idea they're walking into the most sophisticated trap ever constructed." Dr. Foster pulled up another display, showing the positions of the hidden human fleet. Admiral Sam Mitchell and his 12 ships are already in position. They've been watching this invasion from the beginning, completely invisible to Vorthic sensors. Every movement the aliens make is being tracked and analyzed. The tactical display showed the Vorthic fleet's progress through human space. They were following exactly the path the human strategists had predicted, drawn forward by what appeared to be weak resistance and the promise of an easy conquest. The alien ships moved in standard formations, their commanders confident that no human weapon could threaten them. "The beauty of our plan," Ryan explained, "is that the aliens' arrogance is working against them. They're so convinced of their superiority that they're not even scanning for threats. They see our decoy ships retreating and assume they've won. They have no idea that ships far more advanced than anything in their empire are already surrounding them." Lieutenant Morrison was monitoring alien communications from across the galaxy. "Sir, the other species are placing bets on how long humanity will last. The Zenthari are giving us less than a week. Some species are already discussing how to divide up our territory after the Vorthic finish with us." Dr. Foster smiled coldly. "Let them make their plans. In 72 hours, when Admiral Mitchell's fleet reveals itself, every species in the galaxy is going to learn a very important lesson about underestimating humanity." The command center fell quiet as they watched the displays showing humanity's apparent defeat. Vorthic ships were destroying human colonies, while their commanders celebrated what they believed was an easy victory. Across the galaxy, alien species were already writing humanity's obituary. But in the hidden facilities scattered throughout the solar system, Admiral Mitchell and his crews were making final preparations for the moment when humanity would reveal its true strength. The greatest military deception in galactic history was about to reach its climax, and the aliens who had laughed at human weakness were about to discover just how wrong they had been. Admiral Sam Mitchell stood on the bridge of the USS Phantom, watching the Vorthic invasion fleet tear through human defenses on his tactical display. Around him, his crew worked in complete silence, their movements precise and practiced. The ship itself made no sound as it moved through space, its revolutionary hull design absorbing every form of energy that touched it. Captain Nicole Warren, commander of the stealth destroyer USS Wraith, appeared on the main communication screen. "Admiral, the alien fleet has taken the bait. They're following our projected course exactly. All 12 of our ships are in position and ready to engage." Sam nodded, his weathered face showing no emotion. He had been preparing for this moment for 30 years, ever since he had been selected to command humanity's secret fleet. The ships under his command represented technology so advanced that even he sometimes had trouble believing what they were capable of. Chief Engineer Paul Rivers approached from the engine section, his hands still covered in the strange fluid that the ship's systems used for maintenance. "Admiral, all systems are showing green. The singularity containment is stable, and the metamaterial hull is operating at maximum efficiency. We could stay invisible to their sensors for months if necessary." The USS Phantom was massive, 3 times the length of the largest Vorthok dreadnought, but it registered as nothing more than empty space on every sensor system the aliens possessed. Its hull was made of programmable matter that could reshape itself in response to any threat. The ship's power came from a carefully contained black hole that provided more energy than entire alien fleets could generate. "Paul," Sam said, "show me the weapon status." The engineer activated a holographic display that showed the ship's armament. Unlike the crude missiles and kinetic weapons on humanity's decoy ships, the Phantom carried weapons that seemed like magic even to its own crew. Gravity cannons that could compress matter down to the size of marbles. Temporal disruptors that could slow enemy ships to a crawl. Quantum torpedoes that could phase through any known shield technology. Dr. Foster's voice came through the communication system from Earth. "Admiral Mitchell, this is command. The Vorthok fleet is now 48 hours from Earth. Are your ships ready to execute Operation Revelation?" Sam looked around his bridge at the crew members who had trained in secret for decades. These men and women had volunteered to spend their entire careers hidden from the rest of humanity, knowing that their existence could never be acknowledged until the moment came to save their species. "Dr. Foster, we have been ready for 30 years. Captain Warren's image reappeared on the screen. "Admiral, I'm receiving reports from our other ships. The USS Shadow reports that the Vorthok are not even scanning for cloaked vessels. The USS Ghost has been flying alongside their flagship for 6 hours, and they haven't detected anything. Their arrogance is incredible." Sam smiled grimly. "Nicole, remember that their arrogance is exactly what we've been counting on. Every alien species in the galaxy believes that human technology is primitive. They see our decoy ships retreating and think they understand everything about our capabilities. They have no idea that we've been studying their technology for decades and building something far beyond anything they can imagine." Paul Rivers pulled up another display showing the technical specifications of human stealth technology. "Admiral, our metamaterial cloaking doesn't just make us invisible to sensors. It actually bends space around our ships. To their instruments, we literally do not exist. We could fire our engines at full power right next to their flagship, and they would detect nothing." The Phantom's science officer, Lieutenant Commander Beth Clark, approached with her latest analysis of the alien fleet. "Sir, I've been studying their formations and tactics. They're using standard Vorthok battle doctrine from their military manuals. No adaptations, no innovations. They're so confident in their superiority that they're not even trying to be creative." Sam studied the data Beth had compiled. The Vorthok ships moved in predictable patterns, their commanders following strategies that human intelligence had been studying for decades. Every weakness in their formation had been identified and catalogued. When the time came to engage, Admiral Mitchell's fleet would know exactly where to strike for maximum effect. "Beth, what's your assessment of their technology compared to ours?" Science officer consulted her datapad. "Sir, their plasma weapons are impressive by galactic standards, but our adaptive shields can redistribute plasma energy indefinitely. Their faster-than-light drives are fast, but our quantum tunnel generators are instantaneous. Most importantly, their computers and sensors are generations behind ours. They're fighting with the equivalent of stone tools." Captain Warren interrupted. From the USS Wraith, "Admiral, we're receiving intelligence from our infiltration probes. The alien fleet commanders are already planning victory celebrations. Admiral Krexther has ordered special chambers prepared on his flagship to hold human prisoners. They're discussing which colonies to keep as slave camps and which planets to strip mine for resources." Sam felt a cold anger building in his chest. The aliens didn't just want to defeat humanity. They wanted to destroy everything humans had built and turn the survivors into property. "Nicole, make sure all ships receive that intelligence." I want every member of our crews to understand exactly what we're preventing. Dr. Foster's voice came through the communicator again. Admiral, the Galactic News networks are already broadcasting victory announcements. Species across the galaxy are celebrating what they believe is humanity's final defeat. Some are already sending congratulations to the Vorthic Empire for eliminating the human problem. Paul Rivers looked up from his engineering station. Admiral, it occurs to me that we're about to give the galaxy the greatest shock in its recorded history. These aliens have spent centuries believing they understand the limits of technology and warfare. When we reveal ourselves, we're going to shatter every assumption they've ever made. Sam walked to the main viewing screen and stared out at the stars where the Vorthic fleet was advancing toward Earth. Somewhere out there, alien commanders were laughing about human weakness while planning the enslavement of his species. They had no idea that 12 ships more advanced than anything in their wildest dreams were already surrounding them. Paul, begin charging all weapon systems. Beth, prepare the sensor masking systems for shutdown. Nicole, signal all ships to prepare for Revelation Protocol. In exactly 24 hours, we're going to show the galaxy what humanity is really capable of. The USS Phantom's crew began their final preparations with quiet efficiency. Around them, 11 other stealth ships were making identical preparations. The greatest military secret in human history was about to be revealed, and the aliens who had mocked humanity as primitive were about to learn that they had been deceived by masters of deception. Chief Engineer Rivers made one final check of the ship's systems. Admiral, everything is ready. The aliens are about to discover that the species they thought was weak and primitive has been quietly building the most advanced military force in galactic history. Sam Mitchell nodded, his eyes still fixed on the stars ahead. Tomorrow, the laughter would stop. Captain Tony Garcia stood on the bridge of the USS Denver, watching the massive Vorthic fleet approach Earth's outer defense perimeter. His ship and the rest of the human decoy fleet had been retreating for 3 days, drawing the alien invaders deeper into the solar system. Around him, his crew prepared for what every being in the galaxy believed would be humanity's final battle. Lieutenant Amy Rodriguez sat at her sensor station, monitoring the space around them with equipment that was far more sophisticated than the aliens realized. Captain, I'm detecting gravitational anomalies throughout the system. The Shadow Fleet is moving into position. Tony nodded, maintaining his outward appearance of desperate determination, while inside feeling a calm confidence that the aliens could never understand. His ship was real, his crew was real, but their mission had always been to provide the perfect cover for humanity's true strength. Admiral, Krexther's massive flagship dominated the center of the Vorthak formation, its hull bristling with plasma cannons and energy weapons. The alien commander opened a communication channel that broadcast across the entire system and beyond, reaching every corner of galactic civilization. Humans, Krexther's voice boomed through space, translated into dozens of languages for the entertainment of alien audiences. You have fought bravely with your primitive weapons, but your defeat was inevitable from the moment you dared to resist the Vorthic Empire. I offer you one final chance to surrender. Submit to our rule, and some of you may live to serve us. Continue this pointless resistance, and we will reduce your homeworld to burning ash. Across the galaxy, alien species watched the broadcast with fascination. In the Xanthari Council chambers, High Chancellor Miratel observed the proceedings with cold satisfaction. The humans exceeded my expectations by lasting this long, she commented to her advisors. Perhaps they will provide more entertainment value as slaves than I originally calculated. On the bridge of the USS Denver, Tony Garcia activated his own communication system. Admiral Krexther, this is Captain Garcia of the Terran Defense Force. We reject your demands. Humanity will never surrender to an invasion force. no matter how advanced your technology might be. Krexther's laughter echoed through space. Captain Garcia, your courage is admirable but foolish. Look around you. Your fleet consists of metal boxes powered by chemical explosions. My ships harness the power of stars themselves. Your weapons cannot even scratch our shields. This is not a battle. This is an execution. Lieutenant Rodriguez suddenly stiffened at her station. Captain, I'm reading massive space-time distortions forming around the Vorthic fleet. Something very large is about to decloak. Tony smiled, though he kept his expression hidden from the alien sensors that were undoubtedly watching him. Admiral Krexther, you're absolutely right about one thing. This is not a battle. But you're wrong about who is about to be executed. The space around the Vorthic fleet began to ripple and bend, as if reality itself was being twisted by invisible forces. Admiral Krexther's tactical officers reported strange readings on their instruments, but their primitive sensors could not identify the source of the disturbances. What are these readings? Krexther demanded. Human ships cannot generate gravitational fields of this magnitude. Amy Rodriguez watched her displays with growing excitement. Captain, 12 massive objects are beginning to materialize. The Shadow Fleet is decloaking. The first human stealth ship appeared like a ghost materializing from empty space. The USS Phantom slowly became visible, its hull shimmering with energy that seemed to bend light around it. The alien crews stared, in shock as the massive vessel revealed itself directly above their flagship, dwarfing even the largest Vorthic dreadnought. Impossible, Krexther whispered, his confidence evaporating as he stared at the enormous human ship that had somehow appeared from nowhere. The USS Wraith decloaked off the port side of the alien formation, followed by the USS Shadow on the starboard flank. One by one, 12 massive human vessels revealed themselves, each one positioned perfectly to trap the Vorthic fleet in an inescapable formation. The ships that appeared bore no resemblance to the primitive human vessels the aliens had been fighting. These were sleek, advanced warships that seemed to operate by principles of technology the aliens had never imagined. Admiral Sam Mitchell's voice cut through every communication channel in the system, reaching not just the Vorthic fleet, but every alien civilization monitoring the battle. This is Admiral Sam Mitchell of the Terran Defense Force. You are surrounded by the 12th Fleet of the Human Shadow Navy. Your invasion fleet is completely trapped, and your technology is no match for ours. You have 10 seconds to surrender all weapons and prepare to be boarded. The galactic audience watching the broadcast fell into stunned silence. Species that had been celebrating humanity's defeat moments earlier now stared at their screens in disbelief. The primitive humans they had mocked possessed ships that made their own technology look like ancient relics. High Chancellor Miratel stood frozen in her console chamber, her energy-based form flickering with shock. This is impossible, she said to no one in particular. Human technology cannot be this advanced. We have monitored their development for decades. Admiral Krexther recovered his voice and activated his weapon systems. All ships, open fire, destroy these human vessels. The Vorthic fleet unleashed everything they had. Hundreds of plasma cannons fired simultaneously, creating a light show that could be seen from several star systems away. Energy beams that could melt through solid rock struck the human ships with devastating force. The plasma weapons simply disappeared as they hit the human vessels, absorbed by hull materials that adapted instantly to every form of attack. The USS Phantom didn't even slow down as dozens of the most powerful weapons in the Vorthic arsenal struck its adaptive armor. Our weapons are having no effect, reported Krexther's tactical officer. The human ships are absorbing every form of energy we're directing at them. Admiral Mitchell's voice returned, calm and measured. Admiral Krexther, That was your free demonstration. Now let me show you what human weapons can do. The USS Phantom's main gravity cannon powered up, creating a visible distortion in space itself. The weapon fired once, and the massive Vorthik battlecruiser Iron Fang simply collapsed in on itself, its hull compressed into a sphere the size of a basketball. The crew vanished in a flash of light as the ship's emergency teleportation systems beamed them to holding cells aboard the human vessels. The alien fleet stopped firing, their crews staring in horror at what remained of one of their most powerful warships. The technology they had just witnessed was beyond anything in their understanding of physics. "Surrender now," Admiral Mitchell commanded, "or I will demonstrate our full capabilities on your flagship." Admiral Krexther looked around at his fleet, trapped and helpless against technology that seemed like magic. His ships that had seemed so powerful when destroying human colonies now looked like toys compared to the massive human vessels surrounding them. "All ships," Krexther said quietly, "stand down weapons and prepare to surrender." Across the galaxy, alien species watched in shock as the most powerful invasion fleet in Vorthik history surrendered without firing another shot. The humans they had dismissed as primitive had revealed technology that surpassed every advanced civilization in known space. Captain Garcia smiled as he watched the alien ships powering down their weapons. "Admiral Mitchell, this is Captain Garcia. Mission accomplished. The galaxy just learned that humanity is not the weak species they thought we were." Amy Rodriguez looked up from her sensor station, her eyes bright with pride. "Captain, I'm receiving surrender signals from the entire Vorthik fleet. And sir, communication requests are flooding in from every major alien civilization. I think they want to talk." Tony nodded, watching as human ships that had been hiding in plain sight for decades finally revealed themselves to a galaxy that would never underestimate humanity again. President Diana Cole stood in the Oval Office, watching the live broadcast from the solar system's edge, where Admiral Mitchell's fleet had just captured the entire Vorthik invasion force. Around her, the most senior leaders of Earth's government were struggling to process what they were seeing. The aliens who had dismissed humanity as primitive are now begging to speak with human representatives. Ambassador Rick Johnson, humanity's new diplomatic envoy, entered the room carrying a datapad filled with communication requests from alien civilizations across the galaxy. "Madam President, we're receiving surrender offers from 17 different species that were allied with the Vorthik Empire. The Zenthari Collective has requested an immediate emergency meeting. Even the Silicon Confederation, which barely acknowledged our existence yesterday, is asking for trade negotiations." Diana nodded, her expression calm despite the magnitude of what was happening. "Rick, before we respond to any of these requests, I want you to address the Galactic Council directly. Make it clear that humanity is not interested in joining their organization. We're offering them something better." On the main display, Admiral Mitchell's voice could be heard giving orders to his fleet as they processed thousands of alien prisoners. The Vorthik crews were being held in comfortable detention facilities aboard the human ships, while their vessels were being systematically studied and catalogued. Commander Lisa Stone, first officer of the USS Phantom, appeared on the communication screen. "Madam President, Admiral Mitchell requests permission to begin Phase 2 of the Revelation Protocol. We have alien news networks requesting interviews, and several species are asking for technological demonstrations." Diana smiled. "Tell the Admiral to proceed. It's time for the galaxy to understand the full scope of what they're dealing with." The President activated the global broadcast system, addressing not just humanity, but every alien civilization monitoring human communications. "People of Earth and beings of the galaxy, today marks the beginning of a new era. For decades, our species chose to appear weak while building strength. We allowed others to underestimate us, while we learned from their technology and surpassed it. The time for deception is over. Ambassador Johnson began transmitting humanity's new position to the galactic community. Instead of requesting membership in existing organizations, humans were offering protection services to any species willing to abandon aggressive expansion and respect the rights of other civilizations. High Chancellor Miratel of the Xanthari Collective was among the first to respond. Her energy-based form flickered nervously as she addressed the human ambassador. Ambassador Johnson, the Xanthari Collective wishes to formally apologize for our previous dismissal of human capabilities. We request immediate negotiations for a mutual defense agreement. Rick Johnson's response was measured and professional. Chancellor Miratel, humanity appreciates your interest in diplomatic relations. However, any agreement with the Xanthari Collective will require your government to cease all territorial expansion activities and to provide reparations to species or empire has conquered in the past 50 years. The Chancellor's form brightened. With surprise, Ambassador, surely you cannot expect us to simply abandon our legitimate territorial claims. I can, and I do, Rick replied calmly. The galaxy has operated under the principle that might makes right for too long. Humanity possesses the technology to enforce a new standard of galactic behavior. Species that wish our protection must demonstrate that they deserve it. Admiral Mitchell's fleet began the next phase of their demonstration. Human ships moved through the solar system with impossible grace, their quantum tunnel drives allowing them to appear instantly at any location they chose. The alien observers watching could barely track their movements. Commander Stone coordinated the technological displays from her position aboard the Phantom. All ships begin demonstration sequence Alpha. Show them what our medical technology can do. The human fleet transmitted data about their medical advances to every major alien civilization. Technologies that could regrow lost limbs, cure diseases at the genetic level, and extend lifespans far beyond what any alien species had achieved. The information sent shockwaves through Galactic. Scientific communities. Dr. Foster's voice came through the communication system from Earth. President Cole were receiving requests for medical assistance from 43 different worlds. Apparently, several species have diseases and genetic disorders that our technology can cure easily. Diana considered the requests carefully. Begin providing medical aid immediately, but make it clear that our assistance comes with expectations. Any species that receives human medical technology must agree to our behavioral standards. The demonstration continued with displays of human agricultural technology, farming techniques that could turn desert worlds into gardens, food production systems that could feed billions without environmental damage, and terraforming capabilities that could make dead planets habitable within decades. Captain Alex Carter recently returned from his humiliating appearance before the Galactic Council, now found himself addressing the same aliens who had mocked him days earlier. Honored representatives, when I appeared before your council, you dismissed humanity as too primitive to join your organization. Today, I'm here to offer you the chance to join ours. Admiral Zethkar of the Vorthic Empire, now a prisoner aboard. A human vessel, but allowed to communicate, spoke with a voice filled with disbelief. Captain Carter, how did your species advance so far beyond our detection? Our intelligence networks monitor every civilization in the galaxy. Alex smiled. Admiral, you monitored what we wanted you to monitor, while you were watching our decoy ships and laughing at our primitive technology. Our real scientists were developing systems that your intelligence networks couldn't even detect. We've been studying alien technology for 60 years, and we've improved upon everything we've learned. The galactic response was immediate and overwhelming. Species that had ignored humanity for decades were now offering technological exchanges, military alliances, and economic partnerships. The tables had completely turned. with alien civilizations desperate to gain favor with the humans they had previously dismissed. President Cole addressed the galaxy one final time. To all alien civilizations monitoring this broadcast, humanity extends an offer of partnership based on mutual respect and peaceful coexistence. We will share our medical technology, our agricultural advances, and our defensive capabilities with any species willing to renounce conquest and aggression. Those who choose to continue the old ways of galactic expansion through force will find themselves facing the combined opposition of humanity and our allies. Commander Stone reported from the fleet. Madam President, I'm receiving formal surrender. Documents from the Vorthic Empire, along with agreements to pay reparations to every species they've attacked in the past century. The Xanthari Collective has agreed to release all conquered territories and provide compensation to displaced populations. 17 other species have signed preliminary agreements to join our protection network. Ambassador Johnson reviewed the flood of diplomatic communications. President Cole, it appears that our revelation has fundamentally changed galactic politics. Species that have been enemies for centuries are now working together to meet our behavioral standards. The threat of facing human military technology has made them more willing to resolve conflicts peacefully. Diana nodded with satisfaction. That was always the plan, Rick. Sometimes the best way to achieve peace is to make war too costly for anyone to consider. The broadcast concluded with footage of human ships patrolling the galaxy, their advanced technology ensuring that aggressive species would think twice before attacking their neighbors. The aliens who had once laughed at humanity now slept safely under the protection of the species they had underestimated in schools across the galaxy. Alien children would learn about the great revelation and how humanity had taught the universe. That true strength came not from superior weapons or advanced technology, but from the wisdom to appear weak while building the power to protect others. The laughing had stopped, and a new era of galactic peace had begun under the watchful eyes of the humans who had hidden their strength until the moment it was needed most. The message traveled across space for 3 days before reaching Nexus Station. Admiral Kexthan of the Xanthari Empire read it twice before calling his aide. The humans were finally responding to the invitation sent over 100 years ago. He expected a fleet of ships carrying diplomats and military officers. Instead, the message spoke of one vessel called the Hughes Phoenix, carrying 47 crew members. Kexthan looked at the holographic display showing ship registrations from across the galaxy. Hundreds of vessels moved through Nexus Station daily. Trade ships from the merchant guilds carried goods between star systems. Military escorts from various empires protected their interests. Diplomatic vessels brought representatives to endless negotiations. One human ship seemed almost insulting. The Vorthic Collective had different thoughts about humanity's response. Their representative Hisara studied the energy readings from long-range sensors as the Phoenix approached. The ship measured roughly 300 meters in length with basic fusion drives. Its hull showed standard metal construction with minimal external weapons. To Vorthic calculations, this represented either primitive technology or deliberate deception, deep in the ancient quarters of Nexus Station. The ethereal sovereignty remained silent. Their representatives had lived for thousands of years and remembered when other species first joined the galactic community. Most came with massive fleets to show their strength. Some brought advanced technology to prove their worth. A few arrived with nothing and begged for protection. Humanity seemed to fit none of these patterns. Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the Phoenix, watching the massive space station grow larger on their main screen. Nexus Station stretched for dozens of kilometers in all directions. Docking bays could hold ships 10 times larger than the Phoenix. Energy shields protected the station from debris and weapons fire. Thousands of different alien species lived and worked inside its metal walls. Grant checked her tactical displays one more time. Her sensors showed over 200 armed vessels within scanning range. Centauri heavy cruisers floated near. The military docking bays. Vorthic destroyers hung motionless in perfect formation. Ships from dozens of other species waited in assigned positions. The Phoenix looked small and helpless among such powerful vessels. Pete Davis monitored the engine. Readings from his engineering station. The fusion reactors ran at normal levels. Power distribution remained stable across all systems. Everything appeared routine to any alien sensors watching their approach. He smiled, knowing how wrong those sensors were about what they detected. Communication system activated with an incoming transmission. Amy Collins accepted the signal and put it on the main screen. A tall alien with gray skin and 4 arms appeared before them. Its voice came through the universal translator with mechanical precision. Human vessel Phoenix, you are cleared for docking bay 77. Prepare for customs inspection and diplomatic processing. Welcome to Nexus Station. Morrison nodded to Collins, who opened a return channel. Thank you for the welcome. We look forward to meeting with the Galactic Council representatives. The alien paused before responding. Most species sent advance teams to handle diplomatic protocols. Others requested special accommodations for their unique biology. Humans seemed content with standard procedures. Estimated docking time is 43 minutes. Station security will escort your delegation to the council chambers. The transmission ended, and Morrison turned to his crew. Dr. Karenwright worked at her science station, scanning the energy patterns around Nexus Station. Tony Martinez listened to communication traffic between the various alien ships. Both officers gathered information that would prove useful in the coming hours. Wright's instruments detected gravitational manipulation systems throughout the station. The artificial gravity felt comfortable to human standards, but could be adjusted for species with different requirements. She also noticed defensive systems hidden within the station's structure. Energy weapons and missile launchers waited behind. Concealed panels. Nexus Station could defend itself against most threats. Martinez picked up encrypted transmissions between the major powers. The Centauri discussed military patrol schedules around human space. The Vorthic calculated resource extraction possibilities from Earth's solar system. Other species debated the value of adding humanity to existing trade agreements. None of them considered humans a serious threat to the current balance of power. The Phoenix moved slowly toward its assigned docking bay. Other ships gave them plenty of space, but Morrison noticed the careful positioning. Centauri vessels blocked the most direct route back to human space. Vorthic ships surrounded the diplomatic areas. If something went wrong, the Phoenix would find escape very difficult. Collins received another transmission as they approached the docking bay. This time, a different alien appeared on screen. Its blue skin and 6 eyes marked it as a Vorthic representative. Captain Morrison, we have prepared quarters for your delegation. The formal welcome ceremony will begin in 6 hours. Please limit your armed escort to no more than 4 individuals. Morrison smiled at the suggestion. The Galactic Council expected humans to follow standard diplomatic protocols. Most species brought guards to protect their representatives during negotiations. The assumption that humans needed such protection showed how little the galaxy understood about their visitors. We appreciate your consideration, but our diplomatic team will attend without armed escort, Morrison replied. We trust in the security arrangements of Nexus Station. The Vorthic representative seemed confused by this response. Species that arrived with minimal military support usually requested maximum protection. Those confident enough to refuse guards typically brought overwhelming force. Humanity appeared to fit neither category. Docking procedures began as the Phoenix settled into its assigned bay. Mechanical arms extended from the station to secure the ship. Atmospheric processors equalized pressure and air composition between the two vessels. Energy conduits provided power for basic ship operations during their stay. Wright continued her scans while the docking process completed. Her instruments detected surveillance devices throughout the docking bay. The aliens wanted to monitor everything about the human ship and its crew. She also noticed that their assigned bay was isolated from other diplomatic vessels. If the aliens wanted to contain the Phoenix, they had chosen the perfect location. Martinez intercepted more communications as various species prepared for the human arrival. The merchant guilds discussed potential trade opportunities with Earth. Military commanders debated the defensive capabilities of a single human vessel. Diplomatic teams prepared standard junior member treaties that would limit human expansion and independence. The airlock seals engaged with a soft hiss as station. Atmosphere mixed with ship air. Security scanners activated automatically to check for dangerous materials or weapons. The readings showed standard diplomatic equipment and personal effects. Hidden deeper in the ship's structure lay systems that no alien scanner could detect or understand. Morrison gathered his diplomatic team as they prepared to leave the Phoenix. Collins carried translation devices and cultural briefing materials. Wright brought scientific instruments approved for diplomatic missions. Martinez monitored communication channels for any sudden changes in alien behavior. The captain looked at his crew one final time before opening the airlock. Each officer knew their role in the mission ahead. They understood what the galaxy expected from humanity and what surprises waited for those expectations. The Phoenix might appear to be just another small diplomatic vessel, but its arrival would change everything about galactic politics. Station security met them at the airlock with professional courtesy. The guards carried energy weapons, but kept them in non-threatening positions. Their job was to escort the human delegation to the council chambers while gathering information about Earth's military capabilities and political structure. As they walked through the corridors of Nexus Station, Morrison observed the mixing of dozens of alien species. Some were clearly predators with sharp teeth and claws. Others appeared more peaceful with plant-like features or crystalline structures. All of them watched the human delegation with curiosity and barely hidden contempt. The galaxy wondered why. Humanity had sent only one ship to announce their arrival. Soon they would understand that one ship was all they needed to deliver their message. The council chambers stretched across 3 levels, with seating for representatives from 40 different species. Captain Morrison and his team entered through massive doors that sealed automatically behind them. Amy Collins walked beside him, carrying diplomatic credentials, while Dr. Wright and Tony Martinez followed close behind. The air felt thick with tension and barely concealed arrogance. Admiral Kexton stood near the Zentari delegation, wearing full military dress uniform. His forearms displayed medals from dozens of conquered worlds. Behind him sat 3 other Zentari officers, whose scars told stories of countless battles. Their weapons remained visible as a reminder of their empire's military strength. Collective occupied the opposite side of the chamber with mathematical precision. Hishara led their delegation with cold calculation visible in her 6 eyes. Her blue skin seemed to shimmer as internal computers processed thousands of variables about the human visitors. The Vorvik had built their empire on superior technology. And logical thinking, in the highest tier of seeding the ethereal sovereignty, remained mostly hidden behind energy barriers. Their representatives appeared as glowing forms that had transcended physical bodies centuries ago. They spoke rarely, but their words carried the weight of ancient wisdom and unimaginable power. Smaller delegations filled the remaining seats, representing dozens of other species. The merchant guilds watched with interest, hoping for new trade opportunities. The free colonies sought potential allies against the larger empires. Military organizations calculated threat levels and strategic advantages. Morrison took his assigned seat at the center table reserved for new applicants. Positioning was deliberate, with his back to most of the assembly. Collins sat to his right, while Wright and Martinez flanked them on either side. 4 humans facing representatives from across the galaxy. Kex then began the ceremony with traditional Zentari greetings. His voice boomed across the chamber as he spoke of strength and conquest. The Zentari Empire welcomes humanity to this gathering. We hope your species will find wisdom in accepting the guidance of those who have ruled the stars for generations. The Admiral activated a holographic display showing Zentari fleet movements across their territory. Thousands of warships patrolled star systems containing billions of subjects. Their military might had never been seriously challenged by any single species. The message was clear and simple. Hishara responded with Vorthic efficiency. The Collective has prepared detailed analysis of human capabilities based on available data. Your single vessel suggests limited industrial capacity and minimal military preparedness. We offer technological assistance in exchange for resource extraction rights. The Vorthic display showed complex mathematical models predicting human development over the next century. Their calculations assumed steady progress under alien guidance, with Earth serving as a raw material supplier. The projections treated humanity as another client species. Morrison listened without expression as more representatives spoke. The merchant guilds offered trade agreements that heavily favored established species. The mining consortium wanted exclusive rights to asteroid belts in human space. Every offer came with conditions that would limit Earth's independence and growth. Wright activated her scanning equipment discreetly while the presentations continued. Her instruments detected energy patterns throughout the chamber that revealed hidden weapon systems. The council chambers could become a death trap if negotiations went wrong. She also noticed that human signals were being monitored and recorded by multiple alien intelligence services. Martinez used his communication gear to intercept transmissions between the various delegations. The aliens were already dividing up human territory in private messages. The Zentari wanted strategic military bases near Earth. The Vorthic planned research facilities to study human biology and psychology. None of them considered the possibility that humans might refuse their generous offers. Collins took notes on the various proposals while translating the cultural meanings behind each presentation. The aliens were not negotiating with equals, but rather explaining terms to subordinates. Their body language showed dominance and expectation of immediate compliance. An ethereal representative finally spoke from the upper tier. Its voice seemed to come from everywhere at once without clear source or direction. Young species often struggle with the complexity of galactic civilization. We have guided many races through this transition over millennia of experience. The ancient being activated a display showing dozens of species that had joined the Galactic community under ethereal guidance. Most had accepted junior member status for centuries before gaining limited independence. A few had been completely absorbed into larger empires after failed rebellions. Morrison stood slowly as the presentations concluded. The chamber fell silent as all attention focused on the human captain. Collins prepared to translate his words into the major galactic languages, while Wright and Martinez monitored alien reactions. "We appreciate the welcome and the generous offers," Morrison began. "However, we need time to consult with Earth Command before making any commitments. These decisions affect not just our crew, but our entire species." Kex then laughed with genuine amusement. "Your primitive command structure requires approval from distant leaders? Most advanced species grant full authority to their diplomatic representatives. This delay suggests internal weakness and poor organization." Other alien representatives murmured agreement with the Zentari assessment. Species that could not make quick decisions usually fell victim to those who could act decisively. The humans appeared to be another example of this common pattern. Hishara calculated probabilities based on Morrison's response. The standard treaty for junior members provides adequate protection and development opportunities. Delay serves no logical purpose when the benefits are clearly demonstrated. The Vorthic leader activated another display showing timeline projections. Extended negotiations typically resulted in worse terms for applicant species as political situations changed. Quick acceptance of current offers represented the optimal strategy for human survival. Morrison remained, standing as pressure mounted from all sides. Nevertheless, we require consultation time. Earth's leadership will want detailed reports about galactic civilization before making such important decisions. The response triggered frustrated reactions throughout the chamber. Several military representatives began discussing the human position in their own languages. Economic delegations calculated lost profits from delayed resource extraction. Political groups debated whether humanity was being deliberately obstructive. Collins noticed that private communications between alien delegations increased dramatically after Morrison's statement. The species who had been competing for human resources were now beginning to cooperate against potential human resistance. This shift represented a dangerous development for Earth's future. Wright detected energy spikes in the chamber's defensive systems as tensions rose. The aliens were preparing for the possibility that negotiations might break down completely. Her instruments also showed increased scanning activity focused on the human delegation as security services gathered more detailed intelligence. Martinez intercepted planning discussions between military leaders from different species. The Zentari were calculating fleet movements to human space if diplomatic pressure failed. The Vorthic were designing contingency plans for forced compliance scenarios. Other groups discussed more subtle approaches involving economic warfare and political isolation. That an elderly representative from the free colonies finally spoke up from a lower tier. Perhaps humanity would benefit from private discussions with species who joined the galactic community more recently. Not all of us achieved immediate success through hasty decisions. The suggestion drew angry responses from the major powers, who preferred to control all aspects of the negotiation process. Kexthan's hand moved toward his weapon, while Hishara's computers calculated threat levels from this unexpected interference. Morrison nodded gratefully toward the Free Colony's representative. We would welcome additional perspectives on Galactic membership. Understanding the experiences of other species could help inform our decision. The diplomatic session continued for several more hours as various delegations presented their positions. Morrison and his team listened carefully while gathering information about galactic politics and hidden agendas. Each alien presentation revealed more about their true intentions toward humanity. As the formal ceremony concluded, Collins received the standard junior member treaty documents. The terms were exactly as predicted, with severe limitations on military development and territorial expansion. Earth would essentially become a protectorate under alien supervision with minimal rights and maximum obligations. The human delegation was escorted to their assigned quarters in a section reserved for visiting diplomats. The rooms were comfortable but clearly monitored by multiple surveillance systems. Wright began detailed scans while Martinez set up secure communication equipment for contact with Earth. Morrison reviewed the treaty documents while his team worked. The aliens expected quick acceptance based on their assumptions about human capabilities and needs. They had no idea that Earth's leadership had been preparing for this. Admiral Kexthan arrived at the human quarters early the next morning, wearing his battle armor. The metal plates bore scars from dozens of conflicts, while energy weapons hung from his belt. His 3 escort officers carried heavy plasma rifles and wore expressions of barely contained violence. The Zentari had come to make their intentions clear. Morrison answered the door himself, while his crew prepared for another day of diplomatic meetings. The captain wore a simple uniform without visible weapons or armor. Behind him, Collins organized translation equipment, while Wright calibrated her scientific instruments. The contrast between human and Centauri preparations was deliberate and obvious. "Captain Morrison, we have a proposal that will benefit both our species," Kex then announced. "The Centauri Empire invites humanity to participate in a traditional strength demonstration. 3 of our heavy cruisers will engage your vessel in mock combat within the Keller asteroid field." The Admiral activated a portable display showing the proposed battleground. Thousands of asteroids floated in a dense cluster 20 minutes from Nexus Station. The area was commonly used for military exercises and weapons testing. Spectator platforms allowed safe observation from multiple angles. Morrison studied the holographic display while considering the implications. Mock combat between military vessels was indeed a galactic tradition for new species. The results usually determined negotiating positions and treaty terms. Winners gained respect and better conditions, while losers accepted whatever they were offered. "This sounds like an interesting opportunity," Morrison replied. "However, we should clarify the rules and objectives before proceeding. What determines victory in such exercises?" Kex then smiled, revealing rows of sharp teeth designed for tearing flesh. "Simple rules, Captain. The engagement continues until one side surrenders or becomes unable to fight. Our weapons will be set to training levels, but the tactical challenge remains real." The Centauri Admiral expected immediate human refusal based on obvious power differences. 3 heavy cruisers against 1 small diplomatic vessel represented impossible odds by any reasonable calculation. A wise species would decline gracefully and accept junior member status without further testing. Collins translated the proposal into official diplomatic language while calculating political consequences. Refusal would confirm alien assumptions about human weakness, but participation seemed like suicide. The Phoenix carried 47 crew members, while the Centauri ships held over 3,000 trained warriors. Wright analyzed the technical specifications that Kex then provided about his vessels. Each heavy cruiser measured 800 meters in length with multiple plasma cannon batteries. Their shields could absorb massive energy impacts, while their armor resisted kinetic weapons. The ships were built for conquest and intimidation. Martinez intercepted communications between Centauri officers as they prepared for the exercise. Their private discussions revealed complete confidence in easy victory. Some officers were already planning celebration ceremonies, while others debated how much damage to inflict for maximum psychological impact. Morrison appeared to consider the proposal carefully before responding. "We accept your invitation, Admiral. When would you prefer to conduct this exercise?" The unexpected acceptance caused surprised reactions among the Centauri delegation. Kex then had expected negotiation or delay tactics from a species facing such overwhelming odds. Human willingness to proceed suggested either courage or stupidity. "Excellent, Captain," Kex then replied. "We can begin in 4 hours, 1 spectator. Platforms are positioned and safety protocols activated. The galaxy will witness humanity's first real test among the stars." News of the upcoming combat exercise spread rapidly throughout Nexus Station. Representatives from dozens of species requested observation positions to witness the confrontation. Most expected a brief demonstration of Centauri superiority, followed by human surrender. The Vorthic collective used the delay to conduct detailed analysis of both sides. Hishara's computers calculated victory probabilities based on known vessel specifications and crew capabilities. Every simulation predicted human defeat within minutes of engagement beginning. Ethereal representatives emerged from their isolation to observe the proceedings. Ancient beings who had witnessed countless species join the galactic community were curious about human behavior. Most new civilizations avoided direct military confrontation until they understood galactic power structures. Morrison and his crew returned to the Phoenix to prepare for the coming battle. Pete Davis ran diagnostic checks on all ship systems, while the others reviewed tactical plans developed during their long journey from Earth. Everything had to appear normal to alien observers. Wright activated scanning systems that alien sensors could not detect while the ship moved toward the asteroid field. Her instruments mapped gravitational fields and energy patterns throughout the combat zone. The data would prove crucial when the fighting began. Martinez established secure communication links with hidden observation posts scattered throughout the star system. Human intelligence had been monitoring galactic military exercises for decades while preparing for eventual contact. The Phoenix would not fight alone despite appearances. The asteroid field contained rocks, ranging from small boulders to mountain-sized fragments left over from ancient planetary destruction. Dense clusters provided hiding places while open areas allowed maneuvering room. The environment favored smaller vessels that could navigate tight spaces. Spectator platforms positioned themselves at safe distances while broadcasting the exercise to audiences across the galaxy. Military analysts from every major power observed human tactics and capabilities. The results would influence diplomatic relations for years to come. Kexthan's 3 heavy cruisers entered formation near the field's edge with weapons powered set to training levels. Each vessel could destroy the Phoenix with a single full power shot, but the exercise required more subtle demonstration of superiority. Public humiliation served Zentari interests better than quick destruction. Phoenix approached the combat zone alone with minimal escort protection. Morrison stood on the bridge wearing standard uniform, while his crew took positions at their stations. To outside observers they appeared nervous, but determined to represent their species with honor. Executive Officer Mike Thompson coordinated defensive systems, while Weapons Officer Rachel Turner prepared humanity's response to Zentari aggression. Both officers had trained for this moment during years of simulation exercises based on captured alien technology and combat recordings. "Zentari vessels, you may begin when ready," Morrison announced over open communication channels. "We are prepared." "For your demonstration." Kexthan laughed as his ships moved into attack formation. The human captain's formal politeness would soon give way to desperate pleas for mercy. "Very well, Captain. Try to provide entertaining resistance for our audience." The first Zentari cruiser opened fire with plasma cannons aimed at the Phoenix's engine section. The bright energy beams crossed space at light speed, while targeting systems calculated impact probabilities. Direct hits would disable human propulsion and end the fight. Immediately, Morrison watched the incoming fire with calm satisfaction as his ship's true capabilities revealed themselves. The Phoenix didn't dodge or flee as expected, but instead activated gravitational manipulation systems that bent space around the vessel. Plasma beams curved away harmlessly, while the human ship accelerated toward its attackers. Wright monitored energy readings as alien sensors struggled to understand what they were detecting. The Phoenix's defensive systems operated on principles that galactic science had never discovered. Gravity itself became a weapon and shield. Under human control, Turner activated the first of humanity's hidden weapons as the ship closed range with the lead Zentari cruiser. What appeared to be primitive projectile cannons revealed their true nature as relativistic kinetic accelerators. Solid metal slugs left the Phoenix at significant fractions of light speed. The Zentari vessel's shields were designed to absorb energy weapons and deflect slower projectiles. They provided no protection against solid matter moving at relativistic velocities. The first kinetic round punched through shield generators like they didn't exist, while the second disabled primary weapon systems. Kexthan stared at his tactical displays in disbelief as damage reports flooded his command center. The human vessel had somehow penetrated defenses that could stop concentrated plasma bombardment. His crew struggled to understand how primitive projectile weapons could cause such devastation. All ships focus fire on the human vessel. Kexthan ordered maximum training power and continuous bombardment. The remaining 2 cruisers opened fire together, while the damaged ship attempted to withdraw for repairs. Dozens of plasma beams converged on the Phoenix from multiple angles. The combined firepower could melt asteroids and cripple. Capital ships. Thompson adjusted gravitational fields around the Phoenix as space itself twisted under human control. Energy beams curved in impossible directions, while some reversed course, completely to strike their sources. The Centauri found themselves under attack by their own weapons. Turner launched a spread of kinetic rounds that demonstrated human engineering superiority. Each projectile followed a different trajectory, while on-board guidance systems edge. The emergency session of the Galactic Council convened 6 hours after the combat exercise ended. Representatives from every major power demanded explanations for the Phoenix's impossible victory over 3 Centauri heavy cruisers. Admiral Kexthan sat with his arm in a medical brace while his surviving officers displayed visible injuries from their encounter with human weapons. Morrison entered the council chambers to find a very different atmosphere than during his first visit. The casual arrogance had been replaced by nervous tension as alien delegates whispered among themselves. The humans were no longer seen as primitive supplicants, but as potential threats to established galactic order. Hishara led the Vorthic response with cold mathematical precision. Captain Morrison, our analysis of the combat exercise reveals technology that contradicts established scientific principles. Your vessel demonstrated capabilities that should be impossible given its apparent construction and power systems. The Vorthic leader activated holographic displays showing detailed sensor readings from the recent battle. Energy signatures defied their understanding, while weapon performance exceeded theoretical maximums. Their computers struggled to process data that challenged fundamental assumptions about physics and engineering. Morrison remained standing as questions and accusations came from all directions. Species that had ignored humanity 24 hours earlier now demanded detailed explanations about Earth's military capabilities. The captain listened patiently while his crew prepared for the next phase of their mission. Dr. Wright monitored alien communication networks as panic spread throughout the galaxy. Military commands were recalculating threat assessments while intelligence services demanded more information about human technology. Some species began moving fleets to defensive positions around their home systems. Tony Martinez intercepted encrypted transmissions between galactic leaders as they debated appropriate responses to the human revelation. The Centauri wanted immediate military action before humanity could deploy more advanced vessels. The Vorthic preferred diplomatic solutions that would give them access to human technology. Collins translated the various demands and questions while noting the shift in alien behavior. Species that had offered protection now sought reassurance about their own security. Those who had planned to exploit human resources were reconsidering their aggressive policies. An ethereal representative finally spoke from the upper tier with ancient authority. The young species demonstrates capabilities that suggest advanced development hidden from galactic observation. This pattern has occurred before in our long memory with varying results for all involved. The ancient being activated displays showing historical examples of species that had surprised the galaxy with hidden strength. Some had integrated peacefully into galactic civilization, while others had triggered devastating wars. The implications were clear and threatening. Morrison decided the time had come to reveal humanity's true position in galactic affairs. Honored representatives, we appreciate your interest in human capabilities. Perhaps it would be helpful to demonstrate the full extent of our preparations for joining galactic civilization. The statement triggered alarmed reactions throughout the chamber as aliens realized they might have seriously underestimated human development. Military representatives began calculating worst-case scenarios, while diplomatic teams prepared contingency plans for various crisis situations. Earth Command has authorized a demonstration of our defensive capabilities, Morrison continued. We invite galactic observers to witness a routine fleet exercise at the edge of our solar system. This should answer questions about human military readiness. The proposal sent shockwaves through the assembly as delegates realized the implications. If the Phoenix represented standard human technology, then Earth might possess military forces capable of challenging galactic powers. The single-ship scenario suddenly seemed much more ominous. Kex then struggled to his feet despite his injuries. Captain Morrison, are you suggesting that your species possesses additional vessels with capabilities similar to the Phoenix? Our intelligence reports indicated minimal human industrial capacity and limited technological development. Morrison smiled at the Zentari Admiral's obvious distress. Intelligence reports can be misleading, Admiral. Humanity has spent considerable time and effort preparing for our eventual contact with galactic civilization. We wanted to ensure adequate defensive capabilities before announcing our presence. The captain activated his communication system and requested connection with Earth Command through quantum entanglement links. The response came immediately, despite the vast distance involved, while alien observers watched with growing alarm. Earth Command, this is Phoenix requesting permission to conduct fleet exercise demonstration for galactic representatives, Morrison announced. We have interested observers who would like to evaluate human military preparedness. The reply carried across space instantaneously through technology that most alien species had never encountered. Permission granted, Captain Morrison. Admiral, Parker sends his regards and looks forward to meeting our new galactic neighbors. Wright activated her scanning systems as the Phoenix began its journey toward the edge of human space. Her instruments detected dozens of alien vessels, following at maximum sensor range while trying to remain undetected. Every major power wanted first-hand intelligence about human military capabilities. The journey to the demonstration area took 18 hours, during which galactic communication networks buzzed with speculation and concern. Military analysts studied every detail of the Phoenix's performance, while intelligence services attempted to penetrate human information security. Martinez monitored alien transmissions as fear spread throughout established power structures. Some species began preparing for potential conflict, while others sought alliance opportunities with the emerging human threat. The galaxy's political balance was shifting rapidly. Navigation Officer Chris Bell plotted coordinates for the designated exercise area near Pluto's orbit. The location had been chosen carefully to provide maximum psychological impact when human fleet capabilities were revealed. Ancient ice and rock would witness the birth of a new galactic power dot as they approached the outer solar system. Wright detected energy signatures that made her smile with satisfaction. Hidden among asteroids and ice fragments were the shapes that would reshape galactic politics forever. Humanity's true strength was about to become visible to alien eyes. The Phoenix reached the demonstration coordinates and activated its long-range sensors for the benefit of watching alien observers. The display screens showed empty space with scattered debris and a few small asteroids. Nothing appeared threatening or militarily significant. Morrison opened communication channels to address the alien vessels, maintaining observation distances. Galactic representatives, we thank you for your interest in human defensive preparations. The demonstration will begin momentarily. Bavis powered up systems that had remained hidden during their journey to Nexus Station. The Phoenix's true sensor capabilities revealed themselves as space around them filled with energy signatures that defied alien understanding. What had appeared empty now teemed with hidden activity. One by one, human vessels emerged from stealth positions throughout the outer solar system. Massive dreadnoughts dwarfed anything in galactic fleets, while sleek destroyers demonstrated technology decades ahead of alien science. Carriers launched fighter squadrons that moved with inhuman precision. The alien observers watched in growing horror as hundreds of human warships revealed themselves in perfect formation. Each vessel carried weapons that made the Phoenix's demonstration seem modest by comparison. The fleet represented military power that could challenge the entire galactic establishment. Wright monitored alien communication networks as panic spread through watching fleets. Emergency transmissions flooded subspace channels, while military commanders demanded immediate withdrawal to defensive positions. The galaxy had just discovered that humanity possessed overwhelming force projection capabilities. Admiral Parker's flagship appeared on the Phoenix's main screen as quantum communication established contact with Fleet Command. The veteran officer wore dress uniform, decorated with medals from conflicts that galactic intelligence had never detected. "Captain Morrison, welcome to Exercise Starfall," Parker announced. "We're pleased to have galactic observers for this routine demonstration of human fleet readiness. I trust our guests will find the display educational." The demonstration began with coordinated maneuvers that showcased human tactical doctrine and technological superiority. Vessels moved in formations that alien military science considered impossible, while weapons tests produced energy signatures that redefined the limits of destructive capability. Morrison addressed the alien observers as the exercise continued. "Honored representatives, humanity has used our isolation productively during the past century. While the galaxy engaged in political disputes, we focused on advancement and preparation for eventual contact." The captain paused to let the implications sink in before continuing. "The Phoenix was not sent to beg for membership in galactic civilization. We came to evaluate the current situation and determine how best to contribute to galactic peace and prosperity." Collins monitored alien reactio. The Phoenix returned to Nexus Station to find a transformed political landscape waiting for them. Emergency fleets from dozens of species surrounded the diplomatic hub, while hasty alliance negotiations filled every communication channel. Galaxy was preparing for a new reality where humanity held the balance of power. Morrison docked at the same bay they had left 3 days earlier, but now security protocols had changed dramatically. Instead of casual monitoring, the station had activated full military alert status. Energy shields protected critical areas, while weapon systems tracked every approaching vessel. Admiral Kexthen waited at the airlock wearing full battle armor, despite his recent injuries. Behind him stood representatives from every major galactic power, along with dozens of smaller species seeking protection or alliance opportunities. The human captain's return had become the most important diplomatic event in centuries. "Captain Morrison, the Galactic Council requests immediate consultation regarding humanity's intentions toward existing political structures," Kexthen announced. "Your fleet demonstration has created significant concern about regional stability and security arrangements." Morrison smiled as he stepped off his ship, followed by Collins, Wright, and Martinez. The crew wore simple uniforms without visible weapons, but their confidence had changed dramatically since their first arrival. They no longer appeared as humble supplicants seeking acceptance. "Admiral, we appreciate the Council's interest in discussing humanity's role in galactic affairs," Morrison replied. "Earth Command has prepared comprehensive proposals for restructuring interstellar relations based on principles of justice and mutual respect." The response triggered nervous reactions among alien representatives who had expected demands for tribute or territorial concessions. Species with overwhelming military superiority typically imposed harsh terms on weaker civilizations. Humanity's measured approach suggested more complex motivations. The emergency council session convened immediately, with security measures that reflected new threat assessments. Hidden weapon systems remained active, while personal shields protected. key representatives from potential assassination attempts. Trust had evaporated in the face of human military revelations. Hijara led the Vorthek response with calculated precision despite obvious stress indicators. Captain Morrison, our analysis suggests human fleet capabilities exceed the combined military strength of all current galactic powers. This situation requires careful negotiation to prevent catastrophic conflict. The Vorthek leader activated. Displays showing updated threat calculations based on the recent fleet demonstration. Human technology represented evolutionary leaps beyond current galactic science, while their industrial capacity suggested unlimited expansion potential. Traditional diplomatic approaches were inadequate for such circumstances. Morrison took his position at the central table, while alien representatives maintained careful distances. The arrangement reflected new power dynamics, where humanity could dictate terms rather than accepting whatever was offered. The transformation was complete and irreversible. Honored representatives, Earth comes to these negotiations with specific objectives based on our observations of galactic civilization, Morrison began. We have monitored interstellar affairs for over a century while preparing for eventual contact. The captain activated holographic displays that shocked the alien assembly with their detailed intelligence about galactic politics. Human surveillance had penetrated every major power while documenting crimes against smaller species and evidence of systematic exploitation. Lieutenant Commander Steve Parker appeared on the communication screen representing Earth's intelligence services. His presentation revealed the depth of human knowledge about galactic affairs, including military capabilities, technological weaknesses, and political corruption. For 123 years, humanity has watched as powerful species preyed upon weaker civilizations. Parker announced, "We have documented slavery operations, resource theft, and genocidal policies implemented by those claiming to represent galactic civilization." The intelligence officer presented evidence of Zentari concentration camps where subject species were worked to death in mining operations. Vorthik experiments on sentient beings violated every principle of medical ethics, while ethereal manipulation had destroyed dozens of developing cultures. Wright monitored alien reactions as the evidence mounted against established galactic powers. Several smaller species began showing support for human positions, while military representatives calculated the cost of resistance to Earth's demands. Martinez intercepted frantic communications between alien leaders as they realized the implications of human intelligence capabilities. Their secret activities had been observed and recorded while their military plans were known in advance. Privacy and security had become meaningless concepts. Morrison continued his presentation with humanity's terms for joining galactic civilization. Earth proposes the immediate abolition of slavery throughout all member territories with enforcement mechanisms to ensure compliance. Species guilty of genocide or systematic oppression will face trial and punishment. The demand sent shockwaves through the assembly as representatives realized that humanity intended to judge existing power structures rather than join them. The traditional system of might makes right was being challenged by a species with the strength to enforce moral standards. Furthermore, all member species will contribute to reparations funds for victims of past exploitation, Morrison added. Territorial boundaries will be redrawn to provide adequate living space for displaced populations, while natural resources will be managed through collective agreements. Collins translated the terms into major galactic languages while noting the growing desperation among alien delegates. Many species faced potential extinction if their crimes were fully punished, while others saw opportunities for justice after centuries of oppression. Kexthan attempted to protest the human demands despite his weakened position. Captain Morrison, these proposals would destroy the established order that has maintained galactic stability for millennia. Some traditions deserve preservation regardless of current power dynamics. Morrison's response carried the weight of overwhelming military superiority behind diplomatic courtesy. Admiral, the current order has brought stability only to those strong enough to exploit their neighbors. Humanity offers a different model based on equality and mutual respect. The captain activated another display showing human proposals for galactic government restructuring. Democratic representation would replace hereditary rule, while economic systems would ensure fair distribution of resources. Military forces would serve defensive rather than conquest purposes. An ethereal representative emerged from millennia of silence to address the transformed situation. Young species, your proposals challenge fundamental principles that have governed galactic civilization since before your sun formed. Change on such scales carries risks that immortal beings understand better than mortals. Morrison nodded respectfully toward the ancient entity while maintaining his position. Honored elder humanity recognizes the wisdom that comes with age and experience. However, we have observed that immortal perspectives sometimes lose touch with the suffering of finite beings. The response revealed another aspect of human preparation for galactic contact. Earth's representatives had studied not just military capabilities, but also philosophical and psychological weaknesses of various species. They were prepared for every form of resistance or manipulation. Sarah Johnson appeared on the communication screen, representing Earth's diplomatic corps. Her presentation outlined specific implementation timelines for humanity's proposed reforms, along with consequences for non-compliance. The message was clear and non-negotiable. Species that embrace the new order will receive technology transfers and economic assistance, Johnson announced. Those who resist will face isolation and potential military action to protect their victims from continued exploitation. The ultimatum forced alien representatives to confront their limited options in the face of human power. Cooperation offered survival and potential prosperity, while resistance meant certain defeat against overwhelming force. The choice was simple. Despite its devastating implications, smaller species began announcing their support for human proposals as representatives realized this might be their only chance for freedom from centuries of oppression. The merchant guilds saw opportunities for fair trade relationships, while the free colonies embraced protection from aggressive empires. Wright detected energy spikes throughout Nexus Station as various military forces prepared for potential conflict. Some species were considering desperate attacks on human representatives, while others planned immediate withdrawal to defensive positions. The galaxy balanced on the edge of war or transformation. Morrison stood to address the assembly one final time as the session approached its conclusion. Honored representatives, humanity did not seek galactic dominance, but found ourselves forced to act by the suffering we observed. We offer partnership to those who embrace justice and freedom. The captain paused to ensure his words carried maximum impact before delivering humanity's final message. However, make no mistake about our resolve. The galaxy will change whether through cooperation or force. The age of Expel